Wonderful. Hello and welcome again to our Feng Shui Masterclass this month in May. And as you can see, different surrounding. Yes, we are today in an Airbnb south of Napier in Te Awanga, which is right before Cape Kidnappers. Really nice. And there's the sea out there, but you can't hear it, but it's all good. And so yes, and it's the last thing. This Feng Shui Masterclass is still from New Zealand, and the next one, because I always forget to say that, the next one will be on the 25th of June, and that will be from Cairns. We're going to be house sitting in Cairns and Trinity Beach. So we're leaving on Monday towards Brisbane. And let's see. And brings me also straight to the Feng Shui already, because this is one of the interesting things with the house sitting, that you, of course, you see a lot of different houses. And every time when we watch the house or when we look at the house, or like if in Australia, you just see them via Skype, you get a first impression of it. And it's really interesting what you kind of find as floor plan in the house where you are. And then you find the task for this time in your life. So we're going to look today, we're going to look deeper into the area of the future, but I'm going to go through the whole Bagua again, because I saw last time, I think I saw a few question marks still. So when we're going to go through the whole lot again, and then deepen this time the topic future, or some call it children, it's the same children future project. So it's really interesting seeing what's going on in this house with different areas. And there was, for instance, one house that had how many different levels did we have in Brookfield? There was 1, 2, 3, 4 different levels in one house. And it is really interesting because I said from the start, we're just using 2 levels, because houses with different levels, their problem is communication. So because people always stay at different levels. So they had the living room in the very bottom, the office was in the next level, the main living room and that's where the kids also were, and the parents were upstairs. So there was a communication issue in this family, by the way, which we found out then. So it's always interesting for me when we come into a house to house it, and then, first subconsciously get the feeling, then I'm looking at the Bagua, and then I can see, okay, this could be an issue. We probably have to watch this or that. And that is all I get from the way I get this is really from the Bagua, which I'm going to explain to you. And I sent it out last time in the email, so maybe you have it with you. If not, I'm going to show it to you on the screen shortly anyway. Yes. I'll give you another example how you can read from the Bagua what the task is. We moved to an apartment 3 years ago over at the Mount in Tauranga, and I could see pretty much that one of the problems is that you don't get much light in that apartment. And also then I looked at the floor plan, and there were a lot of storage rooms. So there were hidden areas where there's stuck energy, and not enough light because it's winter. So what could be the task of that? And you go through the hallway, a really kind of dark hallway, and you come into the huge living room and the balcony and everything. So it was almost like you have to go through the womb to give birth or anything like that. And not enough light. And in second row, so we were behind another house. So for me, it was pretty much clear that I need to get out more. And that was the time actually when I started my online stuff, doing my online stuff. So it was all about putting myself more out there. And that's what it actually was. And that's when I started putting myself more and more on, not, especially in winter when it's then darker and not so much energy in the apartment or in the house. However, whatever your house is like. I mean, I know, Silky, you won't have any problems. And Aun, you probably also won't have any problems from what I see. But if you have a house that has like large trees, large hedges or anything, where in winter, New Zealand winter, you don't have as much sun as you have in Queensland, for instance, you have to go out more. You have to really be aware of it. Okay, this is the issue. And especially coming from someone with a background and a history of depression, you need to be aware of what is your issue. And for me, it was definitely the light deprivation. So I needed to go out more. So I needed to walk on the beach. Oh my God, how horrible was that? So just from reading the Bagua and the light is really important. I knew this is the task for me when we move into that apartment. And Stefan didn't have a problem with it because he was working for a council anyway, so he got out every day. I was at home working from home and online. So there are no problems, because a lot of people said, oh, with the apartment, it's so dark and it's second row and so many people can look into it. And if you know your Feng Shui, there is no problem. There is a challenge, there is a task, but there is no problem as such. So this is when I want to go straight into the Bagua. And I saw last time with the recording. Come on. Okay, can you, oh, now I can't see you. Hang on. Can you just for a second? Here we are. Can you see the Bagua fully, or is it a little bit hidden? Can you see it? Hang on. Tell me. I hate that. Why doesn't it work? It should work. Yes.
Yeah. I can see it enough.
Is a part missing?
But I can also see that you're working on Stefans Geburtstag.
Oh, damn it. Okay, now I can do that. Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay, you can see all my whatever. Yeah. Okay, so now you're also not going to be in the video. Yes, here we are. So let's see. There's nothing in there. That's all. Nobody can know, but it's going to be okay. So we're going through the Bagua again, and then we're spending a bit more time in this area: children, joy, and the future. So our starting point is, as always, is this point here where my cursor is, because this is the bottom line. And the bottom line, like I said the last two times, like I said with the Bagua, where the bottom line is, this is where your entrance is, of your apartment, of your house, whatever. So we're not looking at the compass at the moment, we're just looking at the indoor Bagua. So this is where your entrance is, either in travel, helpful friends, life's journey, or knowledge and self-cultivation. So ideally, ideally, as in Chinese philosophy, the starting point of your journey is creating the openness and the flow. So you start getting an idea what your path in life is, and that is water element. This is why a lot of the Feng Shui people say water elements in the entrance. This is what you want to have. Any water elements in the entrance, picture or fountain or whatever. It can be a fish on the wall. It can be anything to do with water or anything flowing. Be creative. And then flowing from the start of the journey, the definition of the journey, what is my path in life? What is my work? What is my calling? I'm going to knowledge and self-cultivation. That's the next step to go to. So can be meditation, this can be self-understanding, this can be school, this can be upskilling, this can be a new class, this can be anything what has to do with knowledge and self-cultivation. This is if we're looking at a room, or this is where the books can be. This is where everything to do with knowledge and self-cultivation. This can be your meditation area. This is also a nice sleeping area. So if your bedroom is there are voices in schools. I know if the street is in front of it, you shouldn't have the bedroom in the front of the house. I know that. But it is theoretically a very good sleeping place. Then the next area where it's flowing into from the water element, through the earth element, into the wood element. This is family and new beginnings. family as in the family you come from. Don't mix that up. This is your heritage family. This is the family, your family ties to where you come from. This is the seed that you've been given to make your own way. And this leads then, ideally, you've been nurtured, you've been helped, also your friends and your family are your friends. This is then going into abundance and gratitude. This is what people also like to call the money corner. I personally prefer the word abundance because it's more inclusive. It's not just money. It's not just wealth, as in our normal definition. Abundance is so much more than just money or wealth, because you can have an abundant life where you're nurtured, where you're fully content without having an overflowing bank account. I mean, the bank account helps, the money helps. Don't get me wrong. It makes life easier, a lot easier, but it shouldn't define your definition of abundance. Don't forget all the other stuff that has to do with abundance. And especially if you have a full overflowing bank account, don't forget your gratitude. The gratitude is one of our most wonderful tools that we have. And we really, once we are in the gratitude, we are really fully ourselves. And we are, it's just a great feeling to be grateful for something. And again, coming from someone who's been through depression, that's why you don't feel it. And I always say the moment when I started feeling gratitude for what I had, as little as I thought at the time it was already big, but I couldn't feel it. That was actually my first step out of it, which I know now. Back then it was hard for me to comprehend, but gratitude for the abundance that you have, whatever it is, doesn't need to be a bank account and huge wealth or a castle or whatever. This is what really is abundance for me. If you can say, well, I'm grateful for this or that. And then from there, so if you're feeling the abundance, like you've learned, you've been through school, your family supports you, and then you're making your way, and the abundance comes to you in whichever way that is, then really this is where the fame and reputation comes in. This is where the success, this is also called the success corner sometimes. This is where the success comes in. Success follows your work, it doesn't need to be hard work. Sometimes it's hard work. Sometimes it's because you've made the right choices. It's easier, it's flowing. If you made the right choices at the very bottom of your start of your journey down here, because you've been supported and you've asked the right questions, so then you come into the success through the flowing. For some, it's hard work. That also comes very often from the family you're from. If your family has told you 100 times that success is hard work and money needs to be earned and so on, then you believe that. And this is your path. If your family that you come from, has always had money, has always been rich, then they say, no, it's not hard work. It's fine. It's always easy. It's always there. So you have a completely different attitude towards it, okay? And then you come into the success, and this is where it really starts paying off. And from there, then you can start, well, okay, marriage relationship. This is when they call it couple energy here, a healthy relationship. It's the energy, generally speaking, it's the energy of the two, the energy of me and you. So it is communication. It is any relationship that you have. So it's also, if you're a business owner, it's also the relationship with your employees. It's also in that corner. Also your relationship with everybody else, with your friends. So it is about the two in this one. It is the mother energy, it's the female energy in that corner. Combined with the earth element, so it's quite grounded, that one. So it's not a marriage relationship energy as in, you see, it's not fire anymore. Can you see that? It's earth. It's very earth. So in the Feng Shui, when we're talking about marriage and relationship, we're not talking so much about the hotness and these things. We're talking about the groundedness, about the foundation of a relationship. And the foundation of a relationship is the communication, is what do you have in common? What is your foundation? So this is the earth energy. So, and now you've got your life until that point, and this is when harvesting time comes in. Harvesting time is in this corner, in this area. It's children, joy, and the future. So this area is where we want to dive into a bit harder, a bit deeper today. So you can see that children stands not because people then ask me, do we have to put our bed into that corner? You can, of course, you can have your bed in that corner, and if it's your future project to have children, even better. But you don't have to have your bed in this area. So it is in this area. This is the area of your house or the area of your main room or any room in your house actually, or also the area of your property when you're entering from the bottom line. So this is, generally speaking, everything to do with projects, with the future, with joy, with children. And especially because the joy, that's why I like this Bagua, and I found that I was really happy. Because the joy is in that one. The joy should be in that one in the future. When you're planning your future, you should feel the joy. You know, if you're talking about choices that you make, you know, in the wheel at the moment, in this area, you've achieved something. You are harvesting. You've achieved something. You have a foundation in your job life. You have a foundation in your relationship. This is where you are in the life cycle of the Feng Shui. Now it's time to harvest. And if that doesn't come with joy, what was all the effort before? Why did you go to uni or to school? Why did you go through the whole education? Why did you start this job in the first place? Was it just about success and money? Because then the harvest is not as sweet as if you started all of that because you felt the calling and you made the right choices. And the right choices come from the right questions. So when you're coming into that area, children, joy, and the future, this is when you start harvesting. And when you start harvesting, there's one thing that comes very often, and I also speak for myself, to the point where you start questioning about your inner child. And start looking into my inner child. What does it tell me? Reconnecting with the inner child. What dreams did my inner child have? And did I meet that? My success that I had, the abundance that I have, would that meet the criteria that I had as a child? The dreams that I had, the wishes that I had? Or did I divert? And how far did I divert? Or maybe the choices were better. Who knows? But it's about cultivating that idea of what was it that, in my case, little Sandra would have wanted. What did she always wanted to be? Well, it might not surprise you, especially if you know my vita, that I always wanted to be a teacher. And the second choice was a doctor. But coming from my family background, I knew this wasn't a choice actually, but well, I'm close enough now. So really reconnecting with what was your dream. Every time you're standing on this gateway, questioning something, making choices, what would the inner child say? This is such an interesting journey. If you dare to do it, it's amazing. It's amazing. And do it better sooner than later. Because it can be life-changing. So this is where you develop the confidence, but not the confidence coming from your fame, reputation, success, or the money and abundance. The confidence from to have been on the path and have been doing what you wanted to do, what your calling was. So the harvesting in this area comes from all the efforts you've had on your way before, on your journey before, on your life journey before. So what would you do in that area? Oh, let's first go finish it and then we're going back. So you've harvested. So now it's time for our last area, which is actually the main male energy, travel and helpful friends. This is also, it's gaining support from your network, personal, professional, and online. And it's also to do with your understanding of yourself as a boss, as the chef. No, chef is something different in English, but you know what I mean. As the boss of your life. So in a company, I would look at that area and would say, so, okay, where's the power? Is there a power in this area? Is there a lack in this area? What's happening there? But you are also the boss of your own life. And if you've done everything before right, especially the female energy with the communication, then the helpful friends will be there quite naturally. And if you've harvested well, then you can also do the traveling. And harvested well, again, doesn't mean just money-wise. I mean, look at us. I mean, if you've chosen the right profession, if you've chosen the right calling, then, and you've risked a little bit, then your traveling can be a bit easier, as if you're just having your hard work, saving the whole year for having those 2 or 3 weeks going somewhere. And, you know, I know that you two who are here live made similar choices, that this is what's important to you. So you chose your profession, you chose your calling, and you manifested, you created this life so that you can travel, so that you can do things that other people probably won't do that easily, probably. But it comes from the choices that you've made on your whole path before that. When you started self-cultivation, when you chose going into uni or school or upskilling or starting something completely new and different, I mean, this is the thing. And then you find, and I've just met an elder lady today, and she's now, I think, 65-ish, and she told me about how she was kind of hardworking, but she says she's worked in the time here in New Zealand when she had a normal income but could afford to buy one other home and then rent it out, and she's now traveling the world every year. So this is what I mean with harvesting from making the right choices in the first place, and harvesting with joy. And like what we said last time with the earth element and with that inner axis of the health in the middle, of course, everything is about your health, your physical health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health, of course. So now going back to the children joy, the future area, which is mostly just called children. So when I said before, this is here, family, new beginnings, the wood energy, this is the family where you come from. And opposite of it is your future. So it could be your future family. It could be your future job. It could be whatever you want for your future. So this is the area where you visualize and manifest what you have chosen for yourself in the future. So this is the ideal place for a vision board, for instance. If you're working with a vision board, that would be the area to choose it. This would be the area if you have any project planning going on. This is the place to have it. This is also for me, this is also a very good area to meditate, because it is about harvesting and it is about the future. So I sit in that area and then meditate on that topic. So this is the energy that manifests there. So right now, the room where you're sitting in, whether you watch the recording or live here, doesn't matter. Turn yourself with the back to the entrance of this room so that you have the same view like we're having now on the screen. So you can then see, when you have your back to the door, what is to your right on the wall. Is there a picture? Is there, I don't know what, a blackboard? Whatever it is, just look around in your room. What's in that area? Secondly, you're maybe sitting in front on a desk. If you're sitting at a desk, then this desk also is the whole Bagua. So what is happening on your desk on your right middle side where that area is? What is happening there? And that will give you an idea of how you appreciate your future, what you have as an emphasis for your future. And if you say, well, this thing has to go somewhere, doesn't it? Well, then maybe find a spot where it fits even better. But it really gives you an idea of your preferences. And I find it extremely interesting when I'm coming to places and I can see very often, and this is so hilarious, the same here in this Airbnb, by the way, in that area, there is often pictures of beach or of surf or of a holiday destination. Really funny. So it's really subconsciously, again, chosen. This is what I want to what my emphasis is for my future. So I'm just coming back to the full screen, screen, so I can see you again. Here we are. So when you look to that area in your, you can either choose your whole house. I think, so in your case, it's divided, or maybe it's completely in your room. I'm not quite sure about the floor plan at the moment. So Trish, when you're watching, you're going to the new house, so look what's there. And just have an idea about what's there. And also the room where you are in, what's there. Because I find it really interesting what I find there. The only thing I would not want you to have there, but if it's there, it also says something, is old pictures of the past. If it's your family, maybe your family where you're from is also somehow your future. That's fine. That's fine. That's your decision. But if you want to manifest something new, something different in your life, then it should be something more creative, more different. As I said, it can be a collage, it can be a thing. Because I heard something really cool this week, and I made a notice, and I hope I can quote it right. Wouldn't it be so much nicer to live in the here and now for your future from the point of creation than from the point of memory? And that is exactly what's happening in that area. This is your future area. So if your future area and the life that you want to have now and in the future comes from just from the memories, so replaying the old patterns, just replaying, oh yeah, I'm going on the same holiday, oh yeah, I'm doing the same thing. This is fine. If you're in a certain phase in your life, and I did that in the past because I was so happy where I was at that stage until I got sick and realized, no, it wasn't the solution. But isn't it nicer to live from the point of creation, from the point of, I was just about to say illumination, that's not what I mean. I can't find the word right now. I know where I've got the quote. So it's really about finding that point, imagination. That's the word I've been looking for. Isn't it nicer to live a life from point of imagination and not from a point of memory? Because the imagination is limitless potential. Your memory creates limitation, which is fine at times when you need security, when you need safety, and from time to time, of course, great. But if you want to create something different, that's when imagination comes in, because your imagination and your creation is limitless. And this is what comes into place in that area. The pictures of your family and the pictures of memories and holidays gone, this is the area of family in the very left. I mean, you can also have it in that area because it is kind of harvesting. But the question that we're answering today is, what do you do if you want to create your future? And for that, it's definitely better creating from imagination than from a memory. You can use your memory when you're doing a collage or when you're doing the vision board because you want to go back to somewhere or you want to this or that. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that there is no such place as a loop in the past. It's not taking you anywhere. And that is the thing. This is what is different in that area. So everything you want to create for your future is happening in that area, ideally on your desk, in your room, in your house, maybe even on the property. So for me, this is the second nicest point to meditate in the house or in the room or on the property. The first is, of course, knowledge and self-cultivation on the bottom left. And for many, many people, it is the middle of the house. So it is the earth axis again, where we said, no, it's not the earth axis, damn it. It's the half of the earth axis, the earth element, knowledge, self-cultivation, and the health. So in the middle of the house is also very, very good to meditate. But if you're planning something, if you want to change something, if you want to have a different outcome, I would really look into that area, future, children, and so on. Cultivate inner child. Because this is something that I like to do when I feel I'm stuck. I ask my inner child, I ask little Sandra, what would you do? And she has such a huge, she has so many gems, such a huge capacity of fun, which I totally forgot, totally unlearned in Germany, and which in New Zealand now comes more and more back, which I love. And she has really such a careless nature. It's incredible. So if I ask her, so what are we going to do? And I think I said that last time on the temple, oh, we're going for a swim. And I said, it's raining. And she said, well, and? She doesn't care. She's just like totally like, yeah, but I want to swim. And I remember that I was like that. And I drove my grandparents nuts. I know that. No, I want that now. Yeah, but it's raining. No, can't we? It doesn't matter. It's swimming. Or when we were in the Freibad, like hot pools, but open in summer. And it started raining and my grandparents wanted to go. And I'm like, no, it's just water from there and we can stay. So I totally remember how my grandparents then found a space somewhere under a roof on a park bench where they had all this stuff. And of course I dragged my brother with me. We're still swimming because it was cool. There was nobody else in the swimming pool than us. So really asking the inner child, what would you do? Just ask them for, what would you do? And listen. It's sometimes we're not quite ready to actually do it that way because we have, as an adult, we have already a little bit of weight, and the weight is the memory, and the weight is the experience that we have, and the responsibility that we feel. And when I say responsibility in this case, I mean the old paradigm of responsibility, which is heavy and a burden, and you have to do that. And my new paradigm of responsibility is, if you look at the word, is the ability to respond. So responsibility just means, are you able to respond? And which also means my inner child can always respond, even if it's totally silly. So she is responsible. In her way, she is. So how we define responsibility is also a completely different story. So I'm a little bit detouring now, but that's fine. Responsibility. And she has a sense of responsibility, the inner child, which we as an adult maybe see different, but that's okay. So if you want to change something, and if you want to go different in your future, explore that area in your house, on your property, in your main room, or wherever you are. I can only encourage you to consider your inner child and get in contact with your inner child. If you need to know how, why, and why, what, flick me an email. And for those who are live here today, we're doing a Q&A afterwards where you can ask questions if you like. And for everybody else, if you have questions watching the video, just flick me an email. I'm always here and happy to help. And I'll probably send the Bagua out again in the email, so you will have that too, because we have a few new subscribers. Yeah, that's me for today. See you again in a month. And for those who are live here, we're doing a Q&A, and I just stopped the recording. Bye, guys. Looking forward to seeing you soon.